Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. That's right, baby. The most charismatic man in entertainment is back with this guy, Dimitri. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Good to be here.
So, Black Lives Matter. I have some bones to pick with them, and I have some things I want to address about them. But before I get into it, what is your opinions on the Black Lives Matter organization? Because I've been seeing a lot of mixed reviews, and different opinions about them. Do you support them? Is there certain things you don't like about them?
Well, for me, Black Lives Matter isn't an organization, to be honest with you. There is no organization to it. My opinion on it is the fact that there's no leaders to Black Lives Matter. There's no board to Black Lives Matter. There's no buildings. There's no infrastructure. There's no united, front. There's no, resources. People donate to Black Lives Matter all the time, but where is this, money going to? What's the goal? What has it accomplished, since, people started saying that, at the top of the year, last year? I mean, nothing, aside from awareness. That's like if you have like a sickness or disease that you're aware of. Are you going to just continue to be aware of it? Or are you going to do something about it? What's the goal? I think Black Lives Matter is kind of like a basketball team that's got no coach, that's got no plays, no nothing. It's just like, oh, well, go out there and do the best you can. And then, what I mean? People are just kind of, all over the place. No, you need organization. You need a front. So to me, Black Lives Matter is really nothing but like a socially, engineered freaking, social media awareness, project, like a vanity project more so than anything else. And it's not to say that, I said in one of my podcasts, it's not to say that there isn't aspects to Black Lives Matter that's not genuine or sincere, but it's just that, what are we doing? Where are we going? It's kind of like a ship with no sail.
Right. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people complaining about Black Lives Matter because of the fact that people do donate money and you don't see where that money goes. Like, where
Yeah.
is that money? Is that just sitting in somebody's bank account? What they doing with that? But my problem isn't with that with the organization or quote unquote organization. It's okay. So George Floyd, his death was absolutely ridiculous. It was disgusting, and I support them coming out and all types of minorities and people coming out, you know, and support for George Floyd and getting justice for him. My thing isn't so much about George Floyd, but I think we have to have a conversation about black on black crime, gang violence, because I feel like Black Lives Matter only come out when white people kill black people, and that's from George Floyd to other black people that were killed by authorities, or that guy like Dylan who killed a bunch of black people. And I understand it. I know those deaths and the publicity around it is warrants a discussion. But I think gang violence, hip hop music that promotes gang violence, black on black crime, we have to talk about that because I feel like they don't come out and they talk about that. For instance, a few cases. I don't know if you heard, but there was a 60-year-old kid who was shot and stabbed in his apartment building and then set on fire. Then you had a father walking in the Bronx with his 4-year-old daughter, and a bunch of people rolled up on him, shot him in cold blood in the middle of the day. And even celebrities like Pop Smoke, Nipsey Hussle, all these people are getting killed by fellow black people, and I
Right.
haven't heard any outrage about that, and I haven't heard any a peep. So I just want to say, like, do you think that's a problem? Do you think gang violence in our communities is a problem, and Black Lives Matter should take a stand for that too?
Well, I've said, again, I said in one of my podcasts, y'all check out the MDJ podcast on YouTube. But one of the things I said is that, black people are by far, the most divided, race, ethnicity, whatever you want to call it, group of, human beings on this earth. And there is no black unity, to say that, oh, black people, come together, that's a absolute farce. Because I said to, one of the guys I was talking to on there is the fact that, if I was in, Brooklyn, or if I was in Harlem somewhere past midnight, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm not going to the group of black guys on the street asking them for directions. You know what I'm saying? There's no, hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, probably the people that have the most heat for me in this world are Black people. I feel like I have to be just as, worried about, a fellow Black guy than I would, a white person. So, to me, I understand why some people say that, because yeah, it is true. No one says anything about that when, another Black guy, shoots and kills another Black guy in cold blood. In fact, people don't really pay that any mind. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I think that for Black Lives Matter, and the thing is, and I actually said this a while ago, that we shouldn't call it Black Lives Matter anymore. We need to call it something else, because Black Lives Matter wasn't created by a Black person. It's not run by Black people. It's not funded by Black people. The money does not go to Black people. It's not our movement, whatsoever. We need to be calling it something else. You know what I'm saying? The only time Black people seem to ever want to come together, or the last time I saw any sort of Black, unity or pride, was when Black Panther came out. 2 years ago, last year, whenever it came out. You know what I'm saying? That was the only time that you saw people, coming together, but that was for a fictional country. But yet we don't do that, within ourselves, which is why I say that a Wakanda can never exist, because Black people, don't have the capacity to come together on all sides, on all scales, to build something that's for us and by us. So, and it's just never going to happen, because we don't care enough about each other, and we don't have enough mutual love for ourselves in order to, fight back against anything. This is why you see police, shooting people and, having their knees on necks, and, people getting shot and, beaten and all that stuff. And then usually the people that are standing by and watching with their phones are Black people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then, well, they don't have to worry about it, because, they're like, oh, well, I know the Black bystanders don't care about this Black person I'm about to shoot and kill in cold blood or suffocate. So, I don't have anything to worry about. We don't have a sovereign country. Africa is divided too. You see, you have Italian people. An Italian person gets killed the way that Black people do, and then it makes national news. Italy's gonna say something. A Russian person gets killed that way. Russia's gonna come out and say something. China, Japan. You see what I'm saying? Like Mexico, they're probably gonna come out and say something. Canada, maybe. But Black people, we don't have nothing. We don't have a Wakanda. We don't have a Zamunda. We don't have anything. So this is why the farce or the fallacy, or to some people, the movement of Black Lives Matter is always going to be what it's been until we can come together. But that is just wishful thinking.
Yeah, I got to give some credit to. I was watching a YouTuber named Hassan Campbell. He's a guy who was raised in New York City, and his YouTube video, he talks a lot about controversial issues and stuff going on in the world. And one thing he said, and I agree with him, is the fact that when you see Black celebrities, when they start getting famous, what is the first thing they do? They leave their hometown. And why is that the case? A lot of other races, when they blow up, they stay in their hometown, they give back to the community and stuff like that. But Black people, it's unfortunate.
Nipsey stayed on Crenshaw, and he got shot on Crenshaw in Slauson.
Exactly. Look at XX Tekashi. He was in his own neighborhood, and someone rolled up on him and murdered him in cold blood. So it's why is that? I usually joke, but I think this is a conversation we have to have, not only as for Black Lives Matter, but as Black people. We have to have this conversation. Is that why the only time people come together is when a guy like Derek murders a Black guy like George Floyd. I think when another Black person murders another Black person, especially in cold blood, we have to have that conversation. We can't just run around and scream and march and protest only when a white guy shoots a Black guy. Because even though that happens, racism is alive and well. We all know that is true. But I'm sure places like Chicago, New York, where crime is at an all-time high, Black people killing other Black people. Just when I was in New York, my old neighborhood where my sister lives, she was telling me there's shootings there every day. And I know a few people I grew up with, they will walk from the corner store and people roll up on them and shoot them. And you see, and this is what happened every weekend. At one point in New York, there was about 40 shootings in one weekend. And this was like maybe a month ago. And we have to have that conversation. We have to figure out, why is it the only time we talk about something this serious is only when it's a white on black issue, when we have to fix problems in our own community. Because
Right.
let's say, tomorrow we end the white on black violence, right? But we still killing each other. What good is that doing to us?
Because black people don't care about each other. Like I said, if I were to walk in a neighborhood that I'm not from, around, the wrong, niggas per se, it's probably going to be a problem. And I don't even know these dudes. I mean, what do you think was happening in areas like Compton, back in the day? There was just certain neighborhoods you couldn't go to just because you could just be a regular kid, going to school, walking somewhere, and then, you got a problem. You watch Boys in the Hood. Where do you think that's just coming from? Art imitates life. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why you have a lot of celebrities who leave, their hometown, don't come back or invest in anything, is because you got to worry about the people that were there when you had nothing, and they still have nothing, but you made something of yourself. And then human history has shown that we're always trying to take something from somebody else that's not ours, instead of cultivating it for themselves. So instead of saying, all right, you know what, let me just try to do what he's doing, or get motivated by him making moves, and then let me try to do something for myself. Instead, people are going to try to hit a lick, and then try to come up off of you by either robbing you, killing you, doing something. That's just how it is. A YouTuber I like to watch, he said how he almost got jumped. He went to a store, and basically there were these two guys that were there, and then pretty much he felt like they were gonna do something to him. And I'm pretty sure he didn't specify, but I bet you if I asked him, what the ethnicity of them, they were black. I'm pretty sure they were black. Dude was saying he had a bubble jacket on with no shirt underneath. And then when one of the employees came up to him asking him, oh, are you guys looking for anything? And they're like, nah, we can't afford, everything's too expensive here. So what y'all doing there? You see what I'm saying? It was when we had to call his friends, like 10 people, to come and be there for him. You shouldn't have to worry about it. So when things like that are going on, I understand people, because so let's say if someone who's on the opposite side of what we're talking about, so then they're going to say, well, black on black crime, shouldn't matter because, police shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But hey, if we don't police ourselves, then we can't worry about them when we're not right within ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's like if you can't even, if your health isn't right, like if you're not right internally, then how can you expect everything externally to get better when things aren't right in-house?
Exactly. Right. And
So, and that, I mean, that's just the way that things are. And unfortunately, that's just the way that things are, gonna be. Yeah, I don't see black people coming together and it being in style. I just don't see it. You're not gonna see a black, like another, Black Panther Party, or what I'm saying, some type of, Black excellence group. Because the only thing I've seen online was like the Faithful Black Men Association, and really that's just kind of like a, relationship, thing. Oh, black men don't cheat. That's like social media. You know what I'm saying?
right. Yeah. Black
Them
men
them
don't
guys,
cheat.
them guys. Let's say if I ran into another dude who follows them, he's gonna be very slow to show me love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect love from a black person on the street. I
Yeah.
don't. Ain't no southern hospitality, up here, and then even down south, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is, and that's facts. Like, there is no rebuttal to that. So even someone who's like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much what you're saying. There's no response, because it's all true. Everything I'm saying is facts.
It's like, this is saying that you have to have a solid foundation to build the building. You can't just build the building and expect for it to stand up. So for me, yeah, we can go out and protest and get justice for George Floyd, but if we don't fix our own foundation, that's all crumbling. Because yes, we got Derek in jail, but we still getting people shot all at record time right now, and it's fellow black people shooting each other. And one thing that happened was, so one of the prominent leaders for Black Lives Matter, I can't remember his name, but he did an interview, talking about white violence from police officers to black people. But yet he loves all these songs that promote gang violence. Oh, I caught a body, I dropped a dude, all this stuff. So you can't, for me personally, you can't say Black Lives Matter and then go support gang rat. It just doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah, man.
correlate to each other. You can't say Black Lives Matter and then turn your back when a gang decides they want to kill people. It just doesn't
Rob
happen. It just
somebody.
doesn't work.
I think this was out in New York, and it was a black girl who rejected the dude's advances, and then what did he do? He took his longboard and bashed her in the face with it.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing that, and a lot of times, people on the outside looking in, that reflects me, that reflects you. Just the people who might judge black people just based off a video like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Again, there's no collective black pride. There's no togetherness. There's no unity. There's no, you know what I'm saying, camaraderie or none of that. I've honestly come to really feel like, hey, I don't really see color. I judge people, purely based off of my relationship with you and your character, and I go off of that. I don't just assume, oh, because this person is black, they have my best interest or they got my back or we gonna be cool. No, no, because I've had more issues in my life with more black people than white people. So,
And that's interesting. I had a conversation in college with someone in my scholarship, and they said that same thing. They said they get that feeling of being uneasy with a lot of other black people, but not with white people. And some people might say, "Oh, they're a coon, you're a coon," and just throwing all these
that's
insults.
not being cool. That's just being real.
It's being honest.
Yeah, you're just quicker. You're just quicker to catch animosity from another black dude. This is facts. This is facts. Like I could come up with a few anecdotes just based off of my issues with black dudes that I just don't even freaking know. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even know this dude, and then it just might be some type of static for whatever freaking reason. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this is all really everything we're talking about right now is all by design. So I can't even really say that it's collectively black people's fault. It's by design for us to be the way that we are. Because
Right.
again, if you notice, Indian people, Asian people, Japanese, other ethnicities, they don't have that problem. We do. We're the only ones that do. You don't think that's not a coincidence? That's just by design. It's really by design. And unfortunately, we don't have the collective consciousness to critically think and say, wow, this is by design. Let's do something about it, because it's not in style. It's in style for everybody to just have their own, and people just have their own lives and their own bubbles, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
if your life and your well-being doesn't, why should I care about your life and well-being if it doesn't affect me in any way? So why should I care about you?
Yeah,
No
like
one can tell
it's
me shit.
yo. I had a moment of clarity one day, and I was thinking, do I actually have a problem with cops? I've never had a bad interaction with cops, and I'm not saying there's not bad apples out there, but like where I live in LA, my route when I jog, I always pass cops. I always say hi, and the funny thing is, I've never felt like my life was ever in jeopardy because of it. But I always think about the time where when I was in New York, I almost got jumped by 10 black dudes because someone decided to steal something from me. And I had to go to the cops because it's a long story, but I had to go to the cops for it. And I was a young dude. I was only 16. But I had a bunch of black guys from 20 to 35 years old trying to jump me and stab me for this. And let me say something. I'm not trying to come at black people. I'm not saying I hate
This is
black people.
facts.
I'm not saying that, but I have to say we have to look at a deeper. We have to look at the deeper conversation. This is not just a white and black thing. This is a black issue where, and I'm not the only one who feels like this. And I'm sure there's many black people feel like this, even down to your parents who don't even like working with black people, who don't even trust other black people, and they rather hire a white accountant. And people might call them out for that, but you have to look at the meaning of why. Why do people feel that way? Because quite frankly, the way you grow up, if you grow up in the hood, you get engineered to seeing all this BS and nonsense
Just
that
just
goes on,
just
and
just
it
molded
influences
to
you.
have hostile energy.
Yeah, and I gotta say this. I think one way that this all can change is prioritizing education, because everybody always want to scream the latest rap song, but nobody wants to go to school and pick up a book.
It goes to me, it's a lot more deep rooted than education. I get that. And I think people educating themselves, would help. But to piggyback off of what you were talking about with, you saying that 10 black guys were gonna, jump you and shit like that. Like the last time I could think I had, I had like a physical altercation with somebody where I got into it. It was with a freaking black guy that was twice my age. I'm talking about probably in his mid, 40s and shit like that. And I never forgot that. And you want to know why? It's because he wasn't looking at me like, all right, this is a young brother. Maybe he don't know any better, so let me talk to him. Nah, he was trying to buck up, like literally try to fight me, dog. And mind you, I was like 22, 23 at the time. He's like 45, 46. And then you know who had my back? The people who had my back, they weren't black. They weren't black people that had my back. In fact, most of them were white. People that just randomly worked, like people that I worked with that just happened to be at the mall who were there at that right time to like break the shit up.
Right.
When I turned around, it was pretty much white dudes and Hispanic dude that had my back. It wasn't black people. So I mean, not that I even remember black people being around, but I wouldn't expect them to be like, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is no, like, a situation. Now it's 2016. A situation like that says a lot.
Yeah.
Because that would have been his chance to say, you know what? Let me talk to him. Maybe, instead of me trying to fight this dude, acting like he's younger than me, let me figure out what's going on and try to help the young brother. There's no black mentors out here. And then even if there are, they're not in abundance. We don't care about each other. We don't stick together. That's what I'm saying. And you can't, that boils down to like character. You can't teach that. You can't go to school and teach character. And when people, they go to school to benefit themselves. They don't go to school thinking how they can help other people 9 times out of 10. That doesn't involve their job and everything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Parents don't teach, finances and what they know and then pass it on to their kids so their kids can make sound decisions. That's why you have a lot of black people that don't have great credit because we don't learn that in school. You don't learn when you're in high school, middle school about credit and financial literacy and all that types of stuff. So that's why people spend their 20s, cleaning up their mess when their parents could have helped by educating their kids, putting them up on game so they can avoid that, so they can be able to have something for themselves so they won't be in that type of position. Because I didn't grow up where my parents were like, oh, you have to do this and that with money, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't like that. I had to come up on that information myself after having made mistakes. So, and that's on a grand scale. I've heard so many people go through the same type of thing. Now, there are some people that do have good parents where, they taught them certain things. So once they get of age, they don't hit certain potholes. But at the same time, the majority, it's not like that. Even people that I know that, I might admire for some, reason, they're not quick to try to help me with anything. Like I said, black people, they have what they have for themselves, and then they shut the door behind them. So it doesn't even have to be, being rich or famous or anything like that. People just do that on a day-to-day. Black families don't stick together, but you see white families, they do that. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think people always, associate, being Jewish with wealth and stuff? Because they fucking stick together.
Right.
Same with Asians. Oh, the Asian kid is the smartest kid in the school. You know why? Because that started at home.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. But
so it's a fundamental issue that has been going on for since before I was born, since before I was even here. And it's not going anywhere, clearly, because I'm not listening to these because even the famous people, what are they? It's not like they're really putting people up on game about stuff that we really need to know like that. Kanye talking about contracts and stuff like that. For him, it's for his own benefit. People acting like he's really doing people a favor by talking about, contracts and record labels and ownership. These are problems that don't have to do with him. This is rich people. This is Kanye West problems. That's not the problems of collective people. If he really wanted to do something, he would say, all right, you know what? Let me go on tour and do speaking events and make them either free or affordable for people to come through. So not charging an arm and a leg for that. Kanye West charges like $800 for t-shirts. And who are the people that are buying them for the most part? Those are black people.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? Like it's by everything that's going on right now, everything that we're talking about is by design. He know what he's doing by doing that because everything is to benefit him. People are like, yeah, Kanye, he's spitting. I'm like, well, what is he really talking about? How does that affect me?
Right. Right. You're right.
It's because to me it really just makes me sick, because this world is like we want to act like this is and the thing is, this is an interpersonal society to an extent, but this whole world is really about what you can do for yourself and your immediate world. That's it. We don't fucking care about each other, or Black people don't care about each other, because all we think about is what we can do for ourselves, our family, and then some of our friends, and then that's it. Most people, they don't think, oh, all right, I have the means, let me open up a community center. I talked about this in my podcast. Open up community center, or LeBron James creating an app, to help people out when they get pulled over by police. So we have our own first responders. We don't have anything. I just get pissed off, but just the more that I think about it, because there's nothing I can do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing I can do. Right. It's like helplessness and like powerlessness, and then just the lack of just wanting better for us collectively is lack.
Right.
It doesn't exist. And then we go on social media, we front like these are the things that we really want. No, we don't, because when you see a Black person, you're not bigging him up, you're not asking him how he's doing. A freaking Black kid that I went to high school with killed himself the other day. No one cares. I don't know if you ever heard of Etika. He was a really popular gamer streamer, like a Twitch streamer gamer on YouTube, and he killed himself last year. And then one thing he said in his suicide video that he posted was like, "Oh, I know y'all gonna forget about me." It's true. We pretty much did.
Yeah.
No one cares about Black mental health. Like, dudes be like, yeah, Black kings, man, all that shit be on fucking Twitter. You don't care. Like, y'all don't care. So Black people are like the fake as hell. Hey.
Yeah, I got it. So before I get into why it's the education part, I just want to say quickly say this. The media is one of the biggest reasons why it's leading to this downfall, because time and time again, they don't praise you for your credentials. They don't praise you for how good you're doing in the community. No. That's not the way to get famous. No, you get famous by doing dumb stuff. For instance, World Star. I know everybody loves World Star. Everybody goes there, yelling World Star and stuff like that. But there was a video of, it was about 5 or 6 Black kids beating up another kid. This kid was like 14, 15 years old. And they stripped him butt naked, beat him up, stole his jewelry, emptied his pockets, took his clothes off. And people was just recording him, and they yelling World Star. The people recording is yelling World Star. And they left him butt naked in the middle of a park. And people think that's funny. And these are Black people doing this to other Black people, and people think this is funny. But if it was a white guy doing it to that Black kid, it'd be all over the place. So it's to the point, and I'm not trying to get frustrated, but how can you say Black Lives Matter when you have other Black people killing other Black people and you're not saying nothing? But the education part, the reason why I wanted to say education was because you never, and especially for celebrities and stuff. Let me ask you a question. How many rappers you know besides J. Cole, P. Diddy, and a few others? How many people you think have degrees or have a high school diploma? I know maybe 5 off the top of my head out of how many? Everybody else drops out of high school, talk about gang life and stuff like that. And everybody's situation is different. Everybody grows up different, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But there is a problem in the Black community where you have to go get that quick money fast. You have to, be the next rapper. You have to be the next basketball player. And they don't put an emphasis on education. And a lot of reasons why people turn to gang life is because they don't fit in school. They feel like getting straight A's is, they get clowned on for being a dork. I've been clowned on for being a nerd, for, taking school seriously. I enjoyed school. But other Black people would yell at me, "Oh, you a book nerd. You got nothing else to do. You a virgin."
See what I'm saying?
But and that's the problem. And there has to be an emphasis on education, whether it's public school, private school, whatever. But we have to teach kids that your education is fundamental. Because, like you said, finances. People don't know their finances. A lot of football players go bankrupt. A lot of basketball players go bankrupt. A lot of rappers go bankrupt. Why? Because they didn't take the time to go to school. They didn't take the time to learn about this stuff. This is all education. You could just pick up a book and read this stuff. You don't even have to go to school and take out loans. I'm not saying that. But, once you get to high school, it becomes like this shift in mentality. It goes from elementary to middle school, where everybody loves school. Into high school, you start meeting other people on the street who tell you, nah, school's not really for you. I have something else for you to do. That's how most people get put in gang life, because they drop out of school because the OGs or the big homies around the block are looking for young people to help join their gang, and that's how they get corrupt into it. And I'm not attacking gangs or anything like that, but it has to be an emphasis on education. We have to stop putting basketball players and rappers and even actors, as an actor myself, we have to stop putting that as the main focus and start putting emphasis on, can you read this book? Do you know the 5 systems of the ecosystem? Stuff like that. People should know this stuff. People should know how to what a credit card is. What is credit? Right. What is a credit score? But no, everybody knows how to, people know how to find ways to make quick money fast, whether selling drugs or doing some type of scheme.
Yeah, it's all
I don't know, man.
It's all fundamental. What's funny, while you were talking, I just seen on Twitter, it was like, swole niggas don't have hands, and then they posted a video of a black dude slapping another black dude. See what I'm saying? Like, and it's got thousands of retweets and likes and all this other crap. And I'm like, you see what I'm saying? Like, no one, like, I just don't pay this fake black unity social media crap any mind. I really don't.
Yeah, and that's why I said the media is the problem, because they always reward the bad behavior. Now if there was that same black dude posting a picture of his degree, he'll get maybe 5 likes, 2 retweets, 1 comment. But that video of the 5 little black kids jumping at one kid, that got like 2 million views, 15,000 comments, and it just goes to show, man, the media is the biggest culprit. And I'm not putting all the blame on the media, but media has to do better. We have to stop rewarding people for doing bad behavior. Posting pictures of you with guns get you more likes than you being at the library. I just don't get it. I don't support it. And I think if Black Lives Matter really wants to be taken seriously by everybody, and even most black people too, we have to look at our own people. We have to start taking accountability and not yelling as racism because of this and that. We have to figure it out a way to come together. We have to stop the shooting each other, stop killing each other. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the name? There was a rapper, YBG Duck or something like that. He was another like 20-something-year-old kid who was shot in his own neighborhood. Now I'm not gonna get into that whole story because I'm not too sure, but he's another one going shopping, and a gang in Chicago rolls up on him, shoots him in cold blood. And one thing I will say is his mom knew what he was doing and didn't say anything. And I've seen this time and time again. Parents will go on the news when their kids die, not all the time, but, oh, he was a good kid, he would never do that. But everything he posted on Instagram was contrary to what you're saying. You telling me he lives at home with you, and you have no idea that at 3:00 in the morning, he's out with guns. He's in his room posting videos of stacks of money. And it's crazy, man. It's just, we have to stop. We can't just come out the woodwork when George Floyd dies or when, Sean Bell dies. We have to do more than that. When black people kill other people, we have to stand up and say something. And I've been paying attention to the news. The crime rate is out of this world, especially in these inner city communities, Chicago, New York, down south. And yet nobody talks about them. Nobody ever talks about them. Of course, there's going to be people who talk about it, of course. But the media doesn't cover it. Black Lives Matter don't cover it. But I guarantee you, if let's say Don Cheadle gets harassed by a police officer, they'll harass a white police officer. They'll be the first one to report it. So
that's a fact.
Yeah, man. It's just, we have a lot of work to be done.
Well, it's not. It's just, again, that would just take the masses, a lot of people, to start critically thinking, and that's not going to happen because it's not in style. And then when celebrities do, try to promote that, it's really just for, in some way, shape, or form, it's for their own benefit. So it's not really because they really want to see people come together. It's just because they want to make themselves look a certain way, not because that's actually what they want. Because it would take a lot more than that. You're not seeing Jay-Z's and LeBrons and all these guys really pushing that. They're not, because they're just entertainers. They just do what they do, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So like me, I always thought, I'm like, man, let me just start my own collective and then just build it from scratch. You know what I mean? Like kind of like, ASAP Rocky, right? Like the whole ASAP mob. What do they talk about? Like I watched the interview, like I listened to an interview like maybe like 2 months ago. Like it just kind of played on YouTube randomly and I let it play for a little while. All they were talking about was fashion and clothes. They wasn't talking about anything. And I'm like you get all this money and then that's what you sit and talk about. Fashion and clothes. I get that. I like to look nice too, but then there's other things that are, just more important. But the values are just askew. So, this is why. So people's values and what they place value on is not what we're talking about, because that's why things have been the way that they are for a very long time. So the last time people had really black pride was probably like in the 60s, in 50s when, it was really outward racism and people's lives were being marginalized. You know what I'm saying? And then people had no choice to come together to make their lives better because everybody was affected. But once things, started to open up and everything like that, nope.
Yeah.
Because that's what all those gang movies were about, because really a lot of the films that were really popular were about, black gangs, black shootings, drugs. What is that based on? It's real life.
Yeah. Yeah. And celebrities got to do better, man. Like these only coming out and talk about stuff because it's national has to stop. Like I've seen the only time I've seen celebrities come out and will work was when George Floyd died. But I didn't see nobody screaming Black Lives Matter last year. I didn't see nobody screaming Black Lives Matter the year before. But now everybody is all of a sudden a Black Lives Matter supporter. It's just like, yeah, why y'all gotta wait for someone to die to do that? And I'm not saying I'm guilty of it. When George Floyd passed, I didn't go to the protest or anything, but yeah, I participated in the stuff that was going on. The Blackout Tuesday and stuff like that. But stuff like that is just like uh, only coming out when someone dies. It has to stop. And I want to say something too. This whole looting thing is getting absolutely ridiculous. And as Black people, we have to stop praising this stuff. I've seen countless videos of people. There was just one not too long ago on 42nd Street in New York where people was looting Apple and local business owners getting killed from defending their property. And I'm not saying it's only Black people looting. I'm not saying that. But who's always caught on camera when this happens? Black people. So keep yourself out of position. Keep yourself out of those situations. That's why I don't go to protests. That's why, because it only takes one person to do something for a bunch of other people to follow. And now someone's getting killed, police gets involved. I'm a big dude. The last thing I want is a knee on my neck. But
yeah, because me and you are like, 6'3", 6'4" plus. Like we're out and about in those types of environments. We're like the biggest targets because we stand out most out of everybody. I'm not trying to be all up in the mix when all that stuff is going on. I don't want to get tased. I don't want to get maced. I don't want to get hit with, what I'm saying? I'm not trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? And what did all that amount to back then? This is March, April, if I'm not mistaken. And look where we at now.
People still happening.
Things are still happening now because there's no change. And that's a whole completely separate conversation. But as far as, Black people, I just say, control the way you look out here.
Yeah, exactly. Watch what you're doing. Yeah,
but they don't care. And the thing is, you can hold the celebrities accountable to an extent because they're only going to speak out as much as they're paid to speak out or they're told to speak out, because it's not what a celebrity is not going to remain in a prosperous position by talking about what I would talk about if I was in their shoes, because that's not what they want. Again, this is systematic by design. When you watch The Matrix, was funny, everything that the protagonists were doing was by design by the antagonist. If you watch the movie, everything that happened from, Matrix 1 all the way until Neo talks to the architect was what they wanted them to do. So here they are thinking that they're being, they're rebelling, they're trying to, end the Matrix, beat the system and all that stuff. You're doing what they want you to do. You see what I'm saying? But until it's in style to just, sit down and think about what's really going on, things are going to be the way that they are. because people are too busy listening to YBN, Almighty J, and you know what I'm saying, freaking, you know what I mean, all them corny rappers who aren't talking about nothing. You know,
Right.
and hey, these rappers, they found the cheat code of life. Hey, because someone told you, hey, talk about this thing, and I'll give you, $50 million. You know, would you do it?
Yeah.
You
But
know what
you're
I'm saying?
absolutely
So that's
right.
why, yeah, and you gotta understand, it ties into what I said earlier. People in this world it's an interpersonal society, but the American dream is to do what you can do for yourself and your family, and repeat. That's it. It's not about liberation, collective, consciousness, your professional consciousness, I should say, financial literacy, the abundance of black businesses, because people talk about black businesses all the time. I don't see them out here. I don't see any black banks out here. I don't see anything out here. You know what I'm saying? There's no mentors. There's no one that wants to take me under their wing. I have to figure out everything myself. So
Right.
this is what I'm saying. Like, we're just at a serious, disadvantage that, clearly isn't going anywhere. And it starts from when you're born, at home, your family, the support that you have, the network, and then the wisdom and information that your parents have, which usually doesn't amount to nothing. So
Right. Yeah. I gotta say, like, yeah, it's just the looting, man. People gotta stop that. I'm seeing business owners getting killed. I'm seeing black businesses getting looted and their owners getting killed. Like, when I'm not gonna get too much into the looting thing, but people was when looting first started, people was like, no, it's right. People are frustrated and upset with the police, and this got to change. All right, that's fine. But how long has it been? You still looting? You still
people are
vandalizing
still
buildings?
really
And
doing that now.
yeah, people still doing it. They just did it. They just did it in LA. They did it in New York maybe like 3 weeks ago. And so at this point, like Lord Jamar said, he was like, a lot of people out there. A lot of people out there wasn't there for George Floyd. They were there to get a new Gucci purse, a new Louis Vuitton
TVs,
bag, a new TV, new sneakers, and
phone systems, iPhones, iPads, all this, they were out there for self gain, for selfish.
hey, I'm not gonna tell you to stop looting, but watch what you do, because, like I said, we know all types of people out there looting, but who always gets caught in the camera? Black people. And what do they say? Black people are criminals. So it's just a never ending cycle. Just watch what you do,
No,
and
people need to be going outside to the lobbyists and the people who can actually influence change. Going to Foot Locker and ransacking the place is not gonna do anything but make people look bad, and then give more police targets to shoot at and more people to beat up, because they want to blow off steam. you
oh
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They want to blow off some steam, so you really giving them an excuse. So, and it's just stupidity and ignorance and just stagnant. Because all to me, it's just like watching Black Lives Matter movement. This, to me, it's like looking at stagnant waters. It's like looking at a pond full of algae. The water hasn't moved in a long time. It's just collecting filth and particles and bacteria. It's not going anywhere. And the
right,
bacteria with that would be the looting and all the nonsense and the BS that, like I said, is not going nowhere.
right. Yeah, and my final thing is this. I'm glad people are out there protesting and trying to make a change, stand up for racism. That is a big problem. But at the same time, as people, we have to stop looking at just a white versus black thing. We have to also start looking within our communities. People are waiting. People don't say anything about it until it's their nephew, their husband, their brother, their sister, their mother, their wife get killed, and now they want to speak on it. If you know somebody in the street who's young and dumb, because I mean we're all young and dumb for the most part, tell them, yo, let them know what's going on. Tell them get out the street. Tell them to do something else productive with their life. Pick up a video game. Pick up a book. Go travel. Go do something. Gang banging is not the lifestyle for you. And I just want Black Lives Matter to not only come out the woodwork when a white guy shoots a black guy. We have to start working within ourselves, because if we don't, we're gonna destroy ourselves. And so, any other final thoughts and things you want to get off your chest?
Black people need to evolve. That's it.
Right, right. Well, I wanted to have this conversation because this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I know a lot of people who didn't want to talk about it because it's a hot button issue. But I think as Black people, we have to make a stand, and we have to make a change. And the change isn't going to happen by me going in a YouTube comments and saying that. I think this podcast is a great way for that to be relayed. So if you're listening, let me know what you think. Let me know your opinions, and definitely, if you have a different opinion, if you have something that you want to say, let me know. I'm always interested in getting some different voices. But thank you, Dimitri, for another episode. This is really good,
Yeah.
very inspirational for me, and I'm sure people who will be listening. And like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. I gotta call Robert Downey Jr. back, so this podcast is over. All
Peace.
right, peace, man.